not connected? Okay. I think everybody is logging on. I think there's like some connection. I'm getting some thumbs up from some people in my office. Okay, welcome. You guys, thank you for joining me. Founder, day designer. Let me get this on. I'm with the day designer team. They're in the other room, and I'm going to be able to answer questions at the end. I know some people are on lunch breaks, and so they want to dive straight into this. So I'm just going to go for it. We're starting a few minutes late anyway. Just for the purposes of the replay, if you are watching this on a replay, trying to, you have your planner in front of you, and you're going to use this to workshop, set up your new planner. There are a few things that I recommend bringing to your daily planning session. First one is your favorite pen. I'm a Pilot G2 person. I recently have a new pen. It's called a Tool, T-U-L, with a little thing. So that's an option. I also bring colored pens to my planning sessions. I've got a few colored pen options here. And then a pencil. I have a mechanical pencil here because some of this stuff I am going to want to move around probably later on in the year. You also are going to want to bring your old planner and your new planner. So this is my January 2019 planner, and this is this is actually my mid-year planner. I'm a 2 planner girl. I like to start fresh every 6 months. I feel like it kind of helps me reorganize. And oh, people are recommending those. I don't know if it's Frixion or Friction pens. So people who can't view or hear, try a different browser, and the recording, the replay will hopefully be catching all this nice and clear. Okay, I'm gonna see if I can turn on a little extra video here for you guys. And I've got my notes. Look at this. Look, it's working. Y'all, things are working. I'm going to show you how. Okay. Look at that. January here. A little bit of advanced prep happening. Okay. Let's just take a tour of the day designer. Have you guys seen the new stickers? These mid-year editions. So you've got those. I have selected the brush strokes for January, which I still on that video. This sheet is just text chip, the large size. On the first page here, I've got a spot to fill out my word of the year. I'm going to hold off on that and come back to that later. Give myself some time to think about that. Also, have you guys seen this? Mark, so cool. So if you're just now getting your planner, you might want to, there's a little piece of plastic on this. You're going to want to pull off whenever you start setting your planner up. Awesome. Somebody asked if we could buy additional sticker sheets. Not at this moment. We don't have those for resale, but you can. Somebody asked what size it was. This is the large size. Off the top of my head, I think it's 9 inches by 9 inches. And if someone on the team wants to answer that question in the comments or shoot me a text and throw that back at me. I can't give you the specific dimensions. So we've got a little instruction page here that I am going to walk through. I see somebody has asked for a mini. I can get Jessica to me one of those and talk about that at the end. I can do a comparison of those. Okay, so I'm just going to walk you through my stuff, guys. This is my personal planner. You're seeing everything raw. This is how it's. I'm going to share with you guys. I've never walked through this quite like this before, but I'm really, really pumped about this. So I'm going to start with my black pen, and the first worksheet that I'm going to worksheet, and we're going to be setting some goals here. As you guys know, I'm big on goal setting. I use a method called heart goals, which I can talk about here in a little bit. But one of the very first things I do is I go through and I analyze the different areas of my life. I just rate myself. And that's what this worksheet is for. This has been updated and the way I use it has updated. So I'm going to walk you through. And then also on somebody on the data designer team, there's a couple people that are saying they can't hear. If you guys would just, team would just type in the chat box to tell them to reset their computers, browsers or whatever, because I know we've got some people, it is working well for some people, and I'm sorry for those of you guys who are having problems. So this worksheet is, we've got life segments down the left-hand side of the page, and then a column across the top, 5 columns to rate ourselves. Very important, somewhat important, neutral, not that important, and not at all important. So I'm just going to walk through a couple of those. I am on, we don't have page numbers, but I'm on, it's basically the second printed page in the book. I'm going to move this here, and no, I'm going to leave that right there. I'm going to try to lift it up and see if you guys can see this. Okay. So on my first line, I'm going to walk through, I've got some symbols on. I'm going to walk through these all one at a time. And you can do this however you want to. This is just how I have done this for myself. You can use these spaces to make a note. You can write in a comment. You can actually set, you could use the whole line to write a goal for each of those categories if you wanted to, or just brainstorm your goals. But I, first of all, pick, so on career, I said, you know, they're somewhat important to me. There are things that are more important to me in career. So I put a little X in that column. And down here at the bottom, you can see I just have X's. It's very important to me right now. I'm trying to do a lot of healthy eating. Let's say entertainment. Let me fill out a couple of these. This line for entertainment, I'm going to say not that important for me. Vacation, so I'm going to say somewhat important. I'm just going to put an X right there. Marriage, I'm going to say very important, and that would be spouse or significant other. For some of you guys, hobbies, I'm going to say neutral. Okay, so that's the first thing I do is just put a little X on each of those. Now, another to help me prioritize these life segments is I ask myself the question, where am I spending my time and my money? And to do that, I'm going to use a green pen to write a $sign, and then a pink pen to use a heart. So this is going to say, this is going to show me where I'm spending my money, and this is going to show me where I'm spending my time. Wait, money, time. Did I do that right? Okay. So as you see up here, under the social, or let's see, under career, I put a heart there. I'm spending some time on that. I have actually used a blue pen to put an up arrow, and that is telling me that I want to actually increase the amount of time and the amount of energy that I am putting into my career. So I know that because I want to increase, I'm going to potentially want to set a goal for that area of my life. I know it's a color, it's like color coding. Are you geeking out with me yet? Okay. And this is, again, this is just how I use this. This is a creative way you don't have to do this. You can do it however you want to. A green, I put a $sign. I'm spending more money on social stuff than I want to, and frankly, I'm spending more time on social stuff. So I put a little down arrow right there, and which means I'm going to want to set a goal to decrease and be more intentional about my social time. On the family line, I put a $sign because I'm spending a lot of money on my family, obviously, and heart because I'm also spending a lot of time on that. But then in terms of setting in the other corner, I put okay. I don't need to increase or decrease in that category. Things are fine. Another comment I think I should make is this page is actually going to be new in the January. So if you are looking in your mid-year planner, you have a similar page. You can do the exact same thing on this page, but it's going to look a little bit different. It's just going to have 2 columns about where are you spending your time and your money. I have a couple people saying that there's an echo, and I'm not getting that feedback from very many people. So that might be a computer issue. Okay, next on the line for chores, I put that was somewhat important, and I'm not spending as much time on that as I want. I'm going to put a heart there. And I would like to increase the amount of time. So you can come up with whatever symbols that you want to do on this page and whatever it means to you. But the idea behind this page is to help you think about where you are in each of these categories in life and if you need to increase or decrease, or if you're totally okay, thumbs up and you don't need to do anything. So I use up and down arrows to indicate that to myself and an okay. Then what I do is and I go through and I make a list of goals. I just write out. I call it an idea goal page. And one of the first things I wrote down was I am working about 12 hours a week and I want to work 30. And the important thing about writing down your goals and using numbers to quantify them in any way if you can is it really helps you put into context and grasp how you need to reorganize because that's where we're going is what do we need to do on a daily, weekly, and monthly basis. What do we need to be doing on a daily, weekly, or monthly basis to reach our goals? Somebody said, would this page be found in the Mini Day Designer? And yes, it will be. Again, it's going to be in the January edition. If you're looking at your mid-year edition, your July edition, it's going to be a slightly different format, but you can use the same color coding method and symbolism to fill it out. And we're also going to be turning this into a blog post later on down the road, so everybody will get a chance to read through everything as well. So I also put I'd like to be more intentional about my social time. I'd like to develop a home maintenance and schedule routine. I'd like to make a monthly meal plan. So I went through each of these categories and I started making a list of possible goals. Now I'm going to set this aside. Just set it over there. And I'm going to go to the next page. Now this page you guys might be familiar with. It's the famous day designer Venn diagram. They'll love a good Venn diagram. It's like life is a Venn diagram, right? Like it just helps us make sense of so much stuff. And this is all about what is important to you. And as you fill this out, you can ask yourself the exact same question, is where are you spending your time and your money? And then how do you want that to change? Up arrows and down arrows, increase and decrease. Anything that you want to change, you're going to put on your idea goal list, and we're going to use that again in a second. On values, a lot of times people get confused about you. The first time I sat down and tried to figure out my values, it was kind of a confusing, it was just a hard thing to figure out. Like, what is a value anyway? And the best way to describe a value is that it is a word that just means something to you. Like, what's most important to you? That's it. what matters most? What is most important to you? Those are your values. I found myself at one point in time in a spot in life where I was really deceiving myself. My actions weren't aligning with my values. If you said, what are your values? I would say, oh, my family is super important to me. My faith is important to me. But if I looked at how I was spending my time, I was working a lot, and I had not prioritized my life well. I was not living in accordance with my values. It was a huge wake-up call for me. So really coming to terms with what your values are and being honest with yourself about those things can really help you figure out a way to live a aligned life. So if you're looking to start that process, I would just encourage you to think about words that are important to you. My values have been, they can change. It's not like these are characteristics that stick with you for the rest of your life. They sometimes change depending on your season and your commitments in life. So past weeks have been faith, gratitude, creativity. I'm going to say growth. And if I'm going to take my blue pen here, you can take whatever color you want. And I'm going to ask myself, how am I spending my time and my money? Am I living in accordance with my values? And I'm going to say faith. I could do a little bit more. I'd like to have some more time for meditation. Family, I'm going to okay right there. Gratitude. I did a big check last week. I know I need to be my gratitude mentality. I'm going to see if I can increase the screen. I'm going to see if this will do. Let's see. If I make somebody says not liking click meeting. Me. And just left. Okay. I thought that might be blurry. I don't know if it's, there we go. Creativity. I have not spent very much time on the creative angle of things. So I'm going to increase that. And then personal growth, I'm going to say I feel pretty okay on that right now. And that's how I'm going to fill that out. So I'm going to go over to my idea goals list, and I'm going to make a few more notes. So I'm going to say another idea goal would be regular quiet times. And another thing that I am pretty conscientious about when I set goals is only setting goals that I know I can achieve. That sounds a little bit lazy. Let's just call it smart lazy. But if I am not being really consistent right now about doing something on a daily basis, like doing a meditation or having a quiet time, the odds of me going straight to 7 days a week are pretty slim. So if I would, if I say, I probably do that about once a week right now. I'd like to, and we could talk more about that because that's going to get into the daily scheduling. But just setting yourself up for success and not trying to go from, 0 to 60 in 5.2. So then I'm going to move to my passions. And the important thing about passions is a lot of people say follow your passions. I actually don't advise that. I think that following your passions is going to lead straight to burnout. And my passions are something that I use to refuel and re-energize me whenever I'm having a rough day. Like after this webinar. So one of my big passions is quiet. I just know myself, and I know that I can really recharge and re-energize if I have some peace and quiet. And so I need to prioritize that. I'm going to put a little up arrow beside quiet, and I'm going to have a conversation with my husband about that. And I'm going to hop over to my goal list over here, and I can schedule more quiet time on my goal list. I also love cooking, reading. So these are things that are good for hobbies, good for re-energizing. These are ways to refuel. And then on strengths, I use a little bit called Strengths Finder. I've talked about that multiple times. The question you can ask yourself on strengths isn't necessarily, do I need to be scheduling for more of that? It's more like, am I even doing that? Is there an area of my life where I could use that strength to help other people? And this is where you really start to feel like you've served your purpose in life. So that's encouraging. Okay, so I'm going to use my up arrows, my down arrows, and my okays. And I'm going to transfer my ideas to, or my potential goals to my idea goal list, and then I'm going to turn the page. And the next sheet is a brainstorm sheet for 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, and 12 months right here. Let's see if I can get it. Oh, it's as straight as it's going to get. Here we go. Okay. So what I've done with this is I've looked at my idea goal sheet. So let me find an example of I'd like to spend more time with my spouse. And so I go through each of my idea goals and I think, okay, is that something that I can make happen? And we're starting to get into scheduling here. This is about setting ourselves up for success. Can I get date nights going in 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, 12? How long is it going to take me to get started on that goal and make progress on it? And I put date nights right here in the 3 months. So it's under relationships. These are categorized across the top in terms of self-care, relationships, personal development, resources, and this is very similar to Heart Goals method that I use. This is really all about balance. And so if you start to take your idea goals from your idea goal sheet and you move this sheet and you notice that you have some holes, you can look at that hole and say, you know what, I don't have any self-care, anything planned for 9 months of the way. I need to think about that. And it's not planning all your goals out for your entire year. You could break one goal up and put a little, put milestones in each little step or each little category. But it's really about helping you figure out how to achieve what you want to achieve in a balance. Like I've told this story before, but at one point in time I've looked at my goal list and I had a ton of work goals on my goal list and no personal goals, no family goals. And I realized that was a big problem. So now there's a category in my life for relationships, and I set goals for my relationships in life, which is that's huge in helping me balance out. So just to use an example, one of my first idea goals is that I'm working about 12 hours a week, and I would really love to up the number of hours work, especially as I started doing more consulting this year, and even some interior design stuff I'm doing locally. It's kind of crazy, but I'm gonna put that in the column. It's going to say 3 months, and in 6 months, I'm going to say work 30 hours. And that's why I do that. My next goal will be I'd like to be more intentional about social time. So I'm not going to put that on here. That's not really a goal I'm going to set. It's just a reminder to myself that if somebody says, hey, come over, have a glass of wine, that I need to be saying no more often than I'm saying yes. The next example is I'd like to develop a home maintenance routine or schedule. I'm going to put that under, let's see, that could go a couple places. I'm going to put that under resources, time and money. And you can apply the goals from your categories to any area of your any area that you feel like applies. So these are just prompts to kind of help your. So I'll say and I actually am going to go to there's a blogger I love to follow, cleanmama.com. She's got some cleaning routines on her website. I'm going to go straight to there and print that out so that I can check that goal off and call it easy. I'm going to schedule that stuff on my calendar, on my planner. But that's what I'm going to do on that. Okay, let me think of another one. I've said I want to do more meditations and regular quiet times. I'm going to put that under personal development. And I'm going to say in 3 months, I want to be doing 2 quiet times. And I'm going to say time. And in 6 months, I'm going to be doing 3 quiet times. Okay. And I'm just going to keep filling this out for the goals that I've written on my idea goals page. So my idea goals scratch paper page right here. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through and circle the top 10 most important goals, which might take some time. This isn't a process that you would rush through. It's not designed to take you weeks on end. If you start to feel overwhelmed, you can come back to this. I find, and then again, also you can use these pages however you want to. Color coding and sorting the goals like this is just what works for me to give me clarity and help me figure out what I need to be focusing on. My pink pen here, I'm going to circle 10 goals that I want to focus on. And I only have this halfway filled out right now. So I've circled date night. I'm going to circle the idea of a quiet time goal. I'm going to focus on that. Now, because I've circled that up here, I'm going to expound on that in a second. I don't have to circle it down here either. By starting to focus on the 2 times a week up here, I know I'm setting myself up for success to reach the 3 times, and so I'm not going to do that twice. So this healthy eating thing is important to me. I'm trying to do keto and intermittent fasting right now, and I'm feeling so much better. So I'm going to circle this food prep right here as something I need to think about. And then I'm going to circle walking right here, which walking is probably just not a good goal. Like how often am I walking right now? Once a week? Okay, so that's probably like a 2 times thing. I probably need to quantify some of this stuff because that's going to help me on my daily, weekly, and monthly scheduling. So once I have 10 goals circled on this page, I'm going to turn to the next page, and I'm going to be easier. I am going to start transferring the circled goals from the goals my plan page. This is going to help me. This has columns for you write the name of your goal in this column, and it has columns for monthly, weekly, and daily actions. And so I'm just going to fill it based on each goal, like what does each goal need. So the first one I wrote was date night, and it really just needs a monthly action. I need to make a sitter reservation. I need to just book a babysitter. If I book a babysitter, classic example of just setting myself up for success. By simply making a babysitter reservation once a month, or even making a reservation for the same night every month, I am going to be accomplishing a relationship goal of having more one-on-one time with my husband. So that is really fun to think about. And at the very last column is progress looks like, and this is a great place to put a next step action. So progress looks like consider being booked. Now that's a one-time task that I have to do. So I'm going to think about when I can get that done. And I'm literally just thinking through my schedule over the next week. I know I'm pretty busy, so I'm not going to put that as a task on my next week. I'm going to, well, let's see. I would actually go, here, I'm working in the January planner. I would actually go to my current planner, and flip to my September calendar, and I'm going to pick a day in the coming weeks, and I'm going to write book babysitter for date nights, and I'm going to spend some time figuring out what that process looks like. So I'm going to get that goal accomplished before I even get to next year, just by a little bit of pre-planning, which is super fun to think about. Okay, the next goal I chose to carry over here, and then I don't think I circled it on here. I was trying to do that thing on a cooking show where you like half prepare, you know, whatever filled out. Is I would like to start a monthly donation or give back. My husband and I used to do that. So it's more of a financial category goal for us. There's not really a monthly action I need to do on that, but on a weekly basis, whenever I go deposit paychecks in the bank account, I need to make a note to remind myself to cut a check for giving back, for donation. So on that, I would just flip over to my monthly view, and I might, right up here, one thing I could do is start a, over here I kind of do two things. I do weekly, and you can also do this in some of the white space up here, but you can write on this wherever you want to. So I'm going to put it weekly, and I'm going to draw myself a little box for a check mark, and I'm going to say donation amount. Okay. And also down here, I do a little list for projects. And this just helps keep me focused on some longer term things. So that's my first way into a monthly example. Now I'm going to flip back to the next page, or my plan page again. And we had on the donation amount, I also wrote that on a daily basis, I want to be tracking my spending. And the cool thing about that is the next step is daily tracking. The cool thing about that is on the Day Designer daily pages, there's actually a spot. You can use these for whatever you want to. I'm going to use that dollars area for tracking my spending. So I think just tracking my spending on a daily basis, it's like tracking your food if you want to lose weight. If I want to track, if I want to lose weight, I need to track my food in my Pal app. I need to track my spending, my dollars as well. So I'm gonna set a goal to be trying to write that down every single day. As for the rest of those boxes on it, due could be anything else. It could be bills that you need to pay on certain days. Dinner is what helps you meal plan, meal prep, meal plan. And don't forget can be anything else. I used to use don't forget for my husband's schedule when he worked this crazy job. And so that's one way you can start using those even in your goal setting process. The next goal that I wrote down was food prep. And on a monthly basis, I need a meal plan. And I'm going to flip over here to my monthly calendar. And let's say I want to do my meal plan on, I want to do it on a Sunday or Saturday. And I'm trying to think like my Saturdays. Let's say the second Saturday of every month. So I'm just going to write there, meal plan. So I have just scheduled my goal right there, done. Then also I've decided I'm going to food prep on Sundays. I'm going to, after I do my, I need to pick a day to shop. So I might do shopping on Thursdays and prepping on Sundays. So back over here on weekly, I'm going to say meal shop and meal prep. Okay, I am one of those who need kind of a flexible schedule, and this is where the pencil come in handy. I do not want to write shopping on every single Thursday because this in ink. And this is where you could use your friction erasable pens as well. The second I write that down, Murphy's Law, the universe, God is going to throw a major curveball and say, Whitney, you're not in charge of your schedule as you think you are. And I'm going to have to rearrange stuff, and it's all going to be in ink, and it's all going to be scribbled out. I mean, that happens in your planner anyway, and I love it. It's the sign of a beautiful planner. But I'm going to put it right over here in this weekly section, and I can just make a note to myself to cross that off when I get that done. Same thing on meal prep. I'm not going to put it on every single Sunday because I know there's going to be some days where I have time to do that on a Friday, and it will be a better use of my time to get it done then. And then so to use another example, I put over here on my goals page, I put that I want to start walking twice a week. So on my plan page, I'm going to say walking 2 times. And monthly action, there's not really monthly action. Weekly action, I need to schedule 2 walks. And so I'm going to hop over here, and under my weekly section, I'm going to put walking. And my goal my goals are scheduled. This is going to tell me what I need to do every single week. And then most of the time, I don't write a ton of information on my weekly pages until the week of. I don't fill up the weekly pages. I do a lot of monthly planning and then use the daily pages on a daily basis. Start filling those out every week. I'm trying to give you, let me think of some other examples. My work hours, so that's another thing that I would write out here. A monthly action on increasing my work hours might be have a calendar meeting with my husband and talk through our schedule. And this is just where, another thing that I'd like to start doing is I'd like to start writing more, and that factors into my work hours, but I need to schedule that and again have a conversation with my husband so that he knows to block that off and help me with the kids at his time. So people are kind of asking about what the pages are called. If you're in a July start date planner, the titles of the pages are slightly different. So just to back up, if you're using a July planner, this page is actually called My Reality Check. The January planner is called Self-Assessment, Where Am I in Life? If you are using a July planner, this page is called My Core, and in the January edition, it's called What is Important to Me. And the worksheets are almost identical. It's literally the titles that have changed. If you're in the January planner, this page says My Goals, What is Important to Me. And if you're in the July planner, it just says My Goals. And this page is called My Plan, turning into intentions in the July planner, and it's called My Plan, What Steps Do I Need to Take to Get There in the January edition. I'm sorry about that confusion. So if I turn the page, there is a worksheet. This one's changed. The appearance of it has changed a little bit in the January edition, which is the one I'm using right here from the July edition. This is your ideal month, and this is just a spot. Again, you can use this worksheet however you want to. You'll turn it sideways, and you can map it out however you want to. You can do the whole month. For me, again, it's like Murphy's Law. The second I map out my entire month, I'm gonna get thrown something that's gonna mess up everything I wrote in ink. So I use this to plan out different types of weeks, like a school week or a work week. So I've done a school week of school homework. So I've planned out. So if you're in school, or I help my kids, we do a blended homeschool program. You can put that there. You can map work week, and then you can leave some of this blank. Map out a meal plan on this page. But anything that you want to map out for the month that you'd like to refer back to, this is a great place to do that. So that's just one idea and how I've done that. And then the next page is about your ideal week. And here I've started a little schedule. I do use some color coding, between personal stuff and work stuff and those are the only two categories I use. I know some people color code and they do health, or they do spiritual stuff. Like you could color code to your heart's content. But I color code based on personal, and it also helps me, if I'm using a daily page, figure out how much of my time have I spent on work. I can just, sometimes I use the schedule and I just write down what I do as I go, because things are very happenstance in my life, it seems sometimes. So if I'm doing something personal and I stop and do a work thing, I just, I've got my planner open beside me and I just switch colors really quickly and make another note. And that just helps me look back and, figure out where I spent my time. So this is a page for, and again, you could map out Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, all the way through Saturday, Sunday, or you could use this to map out different types of days. So I've mapped out a food day for me here. I want to wake up, and I'm doing intermittent fasting, which means I'm not going to eat until noon. And then I've planned out snacks and stuff like this, and I've put my work hours in there as well. So this just, again, kind of helps me plan my day. And these are worksheets that I can look back. If I'm feeling like my day is really crazy and out of control, I can look back and be like, oh, it's 4 o'clock. I haven't had a snack. My blood sugar might be low. That's another way to think about that. So the next sheet is a monthly overview. A 12-month, sorry, not a month overview, a 12-month overview. So this just is a place where you can plan vacations, and you can write down important events. We've also got a page of holidays here for reference. And then this is sort of a virtual calendar for birthdays and other important days. So anything that you feel like you need to remember on a yearly basis, you can do this. I have a best friend whose birthday is coming up, and I can't remember if it's September 16th or 18th. I was laying in bed last night thinking, oh my gosh, I need to text her. And thankfully, I will have this sheet now to be able to use. This is a new edition. This is a new edition for the January edition. So again, if you have the mid-year planner, this is not a sheet. It's just a plain note sheet. So this is exciting and fun. And then I've got my January. I use monthly overviews to plan my months and my weeks, and then the daily page, obviously, to help me plan the daily stuff. I'm done talking. That's it. Oh, wait. Nope. One more thing to say. Okay. After you do your goal setting and you get your goals scheduled throughout your planner in pen or pencil or color coded or however it works best for you, you're going to want to get together a bunch of things and fill in the rest of this. This stuff is huge and it's so important, and it's helped me so much in just planning. I'm going to talk through a few categories. If you might want to take some notes, and it's only going to take me 2.5 minutes to do this. But I plan my calendar, when I'm filling my planner for the next 6 months of the next year, here's what I bring to the table. My bills, all my deadlines, like any bill I've got, any recurring fee, any subscription fee. You can use your notes pages in your Day Designer to fill all that stuff out if you want to, but bills, like your payday, also my kids' school calendar, any work deadlines or upcoming projects, any church or volunteer schedule or information or calendar. My cleaning schedule, I mentioned that I recommend Clean Mama for that. My kids' sports and activity schedules, birthdays and holidays. Again, there's now that handy list in your Day Designer where you can fill that stuff out. My spouse's schedule, significant other's schedule, very important. Meal plan if you've got one. And again, I have that on my goal list to actually create for myself. Any events or vacations like weddings or anything, or my dad used to have mandatory time off. Like he always got, 2 weeks off at Christmas at his job growing up. So, that would have gone on my mom's calendar. Doctor's appointments, medical and doctor's, super important. I think dentists, dermatologists, regular checkups for everybody in the family. So that's pretty important as well. I hate doing that stuff. But and then the last thing that you could think about bringing to your planning session would be a bucket list. If you have any holes on your goal list, that's a great opportunity to look at the bucket list and figure out if you can use those to fill in anything. Okay, that's it. We're officially prepared for the whole year. Yes, there will be a replay sent out. I'm happy to answer any questions. I've kind of been ignoring them. I think the team has been texting me a couple of them. But does anybody have any questions I can answer? Oh, somebody wanted to see a comparison of the mini. So here's a mini. Let me close this. So here's the regular. Here is the mini stacked corner to corner. So you can kind of see see how that, it's about 1.5 to 2 inches smaller all the way around. So if you like room to write, there it is held up, like it's probably easier to see on the desk. If you like room to write, I would recommend getting the larger flagship. If you need something more portable, the mini obviously works great. And then sometimes people don't mind just carrying this. I typically, I don't do a lot of back and forth to the office, so this stays time. But that's just one way to, I don't know. Everybody's different. Something different. I mentioned I use 2 planners at once. Could you expand on that process? Yes, I actually have a Today and To Do, which is a new day designer product. It's not on the website right now. They're getting ready to launch it, and it's more flexible. So sometimes it has a weekly layout in it, and so if I'm having a really crazy week and I need more space than a monthly view has to offer me, I flip over and I plan my week and I transfer. What else? Go back to thanks, Deborah. Whatever. So frustrating. Don't get upset. Last year was my first time using it. I'm so excited. Any plans to offer the academics weekly, monthly, July, June format for the refillable leather planner? We don't have any current plans in the works, but we will definitely take that request into account. And happy to answer any other questions anybody's got. I did a little trivia note. I'm on Wikipedia once a day, just curious about stuff. There's the oldest living woman ever recorded was 122 years old. She said that the secret to long life is not getting upset about things. That was on Wikipedia. Isn't that interesting? Where can you get more info on setting heart goals? That would be on my blog, just whitneyenglish.com. And I use my day designer to set my heart goals, so I kind of talked through that process here. And I'll probably do more just on heart goals and tie in my use of the day designer to that. It'll be more focused on goal setting and less on planning. Keep seeing questions about user grouping. Fill planners. I don't know yet. I will have to ask the product development team on that. Will we bring you? Oh, there's another question about the A5s. Love it. Thanks for asking, guys. 2019 calendar used different typer. No, it is the exact same. Some of your pages are printed crooked. That there's like a 1% error rate. I mean, we are making tens of thousands of these, if hundreds, I don't remember. There's like a 1%, it's like there are very few, but it's just impossible to catch everything. So you're always welcome to email customer service if it's driving you nuts and you can't handle it. Do you repeat your to-do list over? Great question. Yes, I do. I actually think that rewriting my to-do list is a very yes, because it forces me as I rewrite that task to decide whether or not it's important enough or whether I just need to kick it off the to-do list. Very good question. And I use a process where I draw an arrow to show that I've abandoned it. Hey, Rachel Nordgren. What tips do I have for keeping my planning system from falling apart while traveling on the go? Oh, great question. This doesn't happen very often, but if you've got a spiral bound planner, sometimes if you're really hard on your planner, it's a little here in the back here, you see better right there. Sometimes that right there will kind of start to stretch. It's just going to, especially if you're really hard on it. And so you just squeeze it back. It's a great question. Thank you guys for sticking around. Denise says, estimating time. I consistently over my to-do list. Okay, yeah, I have a great tip on that. If you're making your to-do to-do list on your daily page. I'll flip to daily page. So if I've got my to-do list right here, something I do is I make myself walk through each of those items, and I force myself to estimate the number of minutes it will take. So it'll be like 5 minutes. I can do that in 5 minutes. I can do that in minutes. I can do that in 20 minutes. Here's the thing, over 20 minutes to do, I force myself to break it into smaller steps. If you're interrupted, it actually takes 38 minutes to get back on track. 38 minutes. So, and sometimes especially with 3 kids, I'm going to be interrupted before I can get back on track. So I keep my tasks to 20 minutes max. I use color coding to do that too. These light green, these violets, 5 minutes, dark greens, 10 minutes. I think I use like turquoise for 15 minutes. 20 minutes is red. If it's a 20-minute task, it has to get replanned. Okay. What else? Thank you guys so much for joining me. It was a fun webinar to do. I'm sorry for the technical difficulties. We will definitely have to do it again. It's been so fun. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Any other questions? A couple people. Yeah, thank you so much for joining me. Okay, follow the Day Designer on Instagram at the Day Designer, and also on Twitter at Day Designer. And we'll get a replay out to you and rewrite it to just. So thank you so much for joining us, and we'll talk to you later. Happy planning!